This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Now, recently on these Thursday videos, we've been looking at the different options that are available if you are in the market for a particular type of instrument. You know, we've done Strat style guitars, single cut guitars, Telecaster style guitars, and so on. What I thought I'd do this week, though, is broaden it out a little bit and look at an entire rig. Basically your guitar, your amp, your pedals, the whole kit and caboodle. Now, if you're in an originals band, then it's pretty simple. You just go for the setup that gives you the sound that you need for playing that one genre of music and that one style of that genre that you are playing in your band. But if you're in a covers band, it's a little bit more complicated because, you know, you might have to be sounding like Carlos Santana one minute, Mark Knopfler the next, and maybe Ed Sheeran after that. So, you know, you need more options available to you, supposedly. And there are basically, I think, three different philosophies that you can adopt in order to have that kind of versatility in your gigging setup. I'll tell you what, here they are. Okay, the last covers band I was in, which was a few years ago, admittedly, this was the rig that I was sporting. As you can see, I was using a HSS style guitar. Mine was actually one of these, a vintage V6 with a humbucker in the bridge position. A couple of pedals, a chorus pedal just to kind of sweeten up the clean, strummy stuff a little bit, and a delay pedal that was left on all of the time just to kind of fatten up the sound a little bit. Both of those pedals were in the effects loop of the amp, which we'll come to in a moment. There was also a wah pedal that I used to use on the solo from one song in particular, and the amp that all of this was hooked up to was the PV Bandit. Bulletproof reliability, not a bad sound, pretty good sound in fact. And you've got two channels, you know, clean and overdriven, and a foot switchable boost on each channel. So you've effectively got kind of a pseudo 4-channel amp. You can have an accompaniment level clean tone and, you know, a kind of boosted clean tone for clean solos, like if you're doing a Mark Knopfler kind of thing. And the same thing with the overdrive channel. You've got like a crunchy sound that you can use for power chords, and then hit the boost and you're into, you know, big fat soloing territory. And with that simple little setup, we used to do a bunch of fairly diverse tunes that you can see kind of popping up on screen here. Now, maybe I wasn't getting the exact same tone that was on the original recordings of these songs, but you know what? I was getting a sound that would work in that context. And, you know, if you're playing in a covers band, that's kind of, I think, all you really need. But of course, there are always going to be some people who are never going to be completely satisfied unless they know they are 100% nailing the tone that is on the original recording of the song they're playing. So you might need a Strat for that Dire Straits number in the set. You might need a Telecaster for that Wilco Johnson tune. Oh, and there's a Guns N' Roses tune coming up later, so you're going to need a Les Paul. Oh, and there's a Steely Dan tune as well, isn't there? And the solo on that was played by Larry Carlton on a ES335. And then there's that obligatory quieter unplugged moment in the set where you're going to need some kind of piezo equipped acoustic. And if you've got all of these guitars, then, you know, why not use them? I mean, it's a little bit like having a garage full of Porsches, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Aston Martins and Bentleys. If you've got them, you're going to want to take them out for a spin every now and again. But if you don't, then there is an alternative. You can go with something like the Line 6 Variax, a modelling guitar, which digitally recreates all of those guitars and more. So you've got all of the guitars you're going to need on tap. Incidentally, I've played one of these guitars when they first came out, and my overriding memory of it was, well, it brought home to me just how much the feel of a guitar affects how that guitar sounds. A Les Paul feels different to a Telecaster, so you play it differently. And that tends to inform how the guitar sounds. And that was the biggest off-putting thing for me with the Variax. It just didn't feel like the guitars that it was sounding like. I mean, the sounds were really good and I thought pretty accurate, but the feel thing was a bit of a deal killer for me. But then, of course, once you've got all of these different guitar sounds, well, I mean, we've not even talked about the amplifiers yet, have we? For instance, a Les Paul or a Strat is going to sound very different if you plug it into a Marshall or a Fender or a Vox AC30 or something. So how are we going to square that circle? Well, luckily, there are plenty of modelling amplifiers out there, including this one here, this Moore modelling amplifier. Or if you've got like a very understanding bank manager or you've recently had a little bit of a windfall, you can even go for the Kemper amp profiler, which, you know, does absolutely nail the sounds of pretty much any amp under the sun. And, you know, those that it doesn't manage to reproduce, you can always get profiles of that amp that you want to reproduce, put them in, and you're good to go. So effectively, you've got all of these guitars going into all or any of these amplifiers and more. But before you decide to go down this route, just ask yourself, is your drummer trying to reproduce the snare sound on each of these particular tracks? Is he swapping out from a metal snare drum to a wooden snare drum? Is your bass player swapping between different basses for each song? You know, is it really necessary, is what I'm saying? Probably not, but some people do like to have that feeling of as I say, nailing the exact tone of the track, and if that's you, this might be the route you need to go down. And I guess the polar opposite of that kind of setup is what I would call the Minimalist Rig. Now let me tell you, I saw a band about 18 months ago in a local pub, and the guitarist was using this rig, a PRS SE Custom and a Bugera V22, which is essentially a 2-channel clean and dirty valve amp with built-in reverb, and the only other piece of kit he was using was the foot switch for the amp and a lead connecting the guitar to the amp, and that was it. Now this band were playing a fair mix of you know, kind of contemporary current stuff by the likes of Kings of Leon, James Bay and Ed Sheeran. There was some stuff from the 90s, Green Day, Oasis, Pulp as well, you know, and then a fair smattering of classic rock stuff from the likes of Bryan Adams, Queen, Bad Company and the Eagles. And just by using the volume control on the guitar to, you know, affect how much dirt he had dialed in, and the tone control and pickup selector, and also you've got the push-pull there to go to a single coil type sound, he was covering all of the sounds with ease. And you know what? He sounded great, the band sounded great, and the songs sounded great too. So, you know, if you can do it with that kind of setup, it does make you kind of wonder, why do you need anything else? So there you go. As I say, those are what I consider to be the 3 main philosophies that different guitarists follow when they're having to cover a wide range of styles in a single gig. You've got the guitar, the amp, and a couple of pedals that kind of gets the job done. Then you've got the slightly obsessive, you know, let's nail the exact sound from every particular track we're playing kind of approach. And as I said in that clip there, that one always just seems a little bit too over the top for me, because no one else in the band is trying to nail the sound of the original recording with regard to the instrument they're playing, the drummer and so on. And then you've got the final option, which is to just have a good guitar and a good amplifier and trust the fact that a good guitar and a good amplifier is going to produce a good tone that will fit in pretty much any situation. Let me know which of those options feels the most comfortable for you. As I said in that clip, I know which one is my preferred option, although to be honest, the more I think about it, the more I might be going for that last one, the minimalist kind of feel. It just has something that appeals to me, a simple setup for a simple lad, basically. Anyway, as I say, let me know which option you prefer, or if you can think of any other ways of approaching this issue. Leave your comments down below, as you usually do, and that's, you know, it's always a good way to start a discussion. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you found this video useful, informative, maybe maybe even a little bit inspiring and thought-provoking. And if you have, please hit please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and why not give me a like while you're at it. If you want to support the channel, all the links are downstairs in the description. Much appreciated if you're already doing that. Thank you so much to everybody who's joined the Patreon and enrolling on courses and buying a Fret Zealot and all of that sort of stuff. Very, very much appreciated. And thank you in advance if you're thinking of doing exactly that or any of those things. And with that, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.